and you've made your new document, which is 11 by 17 and it's 300 DPI and it's CMYK, you might see something different than what I see. So I want to just show you where you can set and reset how everything looks on screen for you. So if you go up to Window here in this top menu bar, there's a thing that says Workspace. And right here, if you click on Essentials, which is the default, it's gonna change your screen so that it looks more like mine right now. And this might be able to help you follow along more in our tutorials and demos. The other thing I want to point out is that some of these things will look very similar to what you saw inside of Illustrator. One big difference is that this area here is not going to dynamically change for you as you change your tools the way that it did in Illustrator. It's going to stay more static. Your toolbar over here is going to be very similar. Again, just like in Illustrator, if it has a little arrow next to it, you can click and hold and it'll show you some more tools. We talked about the fact that yours is going to default to gradient here and your paint bucket lives underneath. That's my least favorite. But some of these tools, like say the paint bucket, might work a little differently than they did inside of Illustrator. That's oftentimes the biggest frustration when going back and forth between these two programs, is you expect the same tool to work the same way, and that's not always the case. So just to keep in mind that just because you know how something works in one program, it won't necessarily work the same way here. One last thing I want to point out to you before we get into some of these menu items up top is that whenever you have a document open inside of Photoshop, you can tell what color mode you're in without actually opening any other menu item or looking anywhere else except for the tab up here, which tells you the name of your document. Right here, next to how zoomed in I am, it tells me that my document is an 8-bit CMYK document. So if I had opened up a JPEG I downloaded from the internet, which I'll do later, you'll see that it'll say RGB next to it. So you know without having to check anywhere else if your document is in the right color space for what you want to be working in. Again, this is a print document, so we're going to be working in CMYK. When we switch over to working on our social media pieces, we'll be working in RGB. And one thing you'll notice is that when you take an image and you place it in these two documents that are in two different color spaces, you might see some of the colors shifting a little bit, especially if they're bright colors. So to always keep that in mind, and remember that you might need to do a little bit of editing to your colors to make things match between print and screen.